Where are the suburbs of Atlanta headed? You have heard me talk in all of my videos about the push for micro-cities and just really trying to urbanize and make the suburbs of Atlanta a little bit more walkable because they just weren't built that way to start with. So today I'm sharing some of the biggest developments going on from Alpharetta to Gainesville. And whether you already live here or are thinking of making a move here, stay tuned. The first development that is a big one, you've probably heard me talk about it on the channel before, is going to be the gathering at South Forsyth. This is one that is basically hinging on the ability for us to get an NHL team to come back to Georgia. We had one before, they ended up leaving us for greener pastures, I suppose, but now the gathering at South Forsyth is really waiting to find out if an NHL team is going to sign and make this project worthwhile, because this project is a 102-acre mixed-use development planned for right at the area of Ronald Reagan Boulevard and Union Hill Road. It's a privately funded sports and kind of entertainment district. Is going to have hotels, shops, and even a community ice rink. But the big part of this project is the hockey team. Now, I will say that the NHL has until 2027 to actually make their decision and pull a team here. But this project is really hindering on that. No team, no development. One of the biggest questions about this area that a lot of people that live here are asking is, can Cumming and Forsyth County really handle the infrastructure and traffic that this would bring if this actually does come to fruition? A top-tier consulting firm has actually been brought in to figure out infrastructure upgrades. They're talking about widening Highway 141 and doing some major infrastructure upgrades to other roads that would be around the area that would all lead to the gathering at South Forsyth. So who's funding this project? Well, that's an interesting one, and where this project is a little bit different from some of the others. A lot of times, like the Battery over in Marietta, taxes really took a hit with this because taxpayers are funding this. Well, not with the gathering at South Forsyth. Taxes are not going to be responsible for paying for the project. Instead, developers are planning to use real estate taxes generated from the site. But here's the twist. Forsyth County has committed that if an NHL team is signed by the year 2027, they will actually donate $390 million. At the end of the day, the gathering at South Forsyth has the land, they have the financial backing, and they have all of the plans written, but there's no NHL team. If the NHL says yes, Forsyth County is about to become Georgia's hockey hotspot. If not, well, the whole project could be in jeopardy. Just on the road, we're going over to Johns Creek, where they're working on a development called Medley. This is going to be very similar to Alpharetta's Avalon, but will it live up to the hype? There is a lot going on in this area. It's a 43-acre mixed-use development. It's being built right at the corner of Johns Creek Parkway and McGinnis Ferry. If you're familiar with this area, it's right where the City Hall and kind of Technology Park all come together in Johns Creek. It's spearheaded by none other than Mark Toro, the guy behind Avalon and Alpharetta. The project officially broke ground in January 2025 after securing $560 million that they needed to get this started. Now, you are going to have a lot of blending of the technology park that is already there. There's going to be 150 square feet of retail, dining, and entertaining area. There's a 175-room boutique hotel. There's 110 square feet of office space and 750 luxury apartments, plus 133 townhomes that are going to be going here. They are definitely going for that live, work, play vibe. Now, let's talk about the businesses that are already signed up to be here because the list is long. First up, you've got Ford Fries Little Ray. This is killer tacos and wood-fired meats. Then you've got Five Daughters Bakery. They actually just opened one up over at the Avalon, and they are known for all of their sweet treats. Then you've got 26 Thai Kitchen, which is a staple for modern Thai cuisine. Fado Irish Pub, bringing major classic Irish vibes. Then you've got High Country Outfitters. I might be a little bit obsessed with this place. Like I said before, there's actually one over at Avalon. Then you've got your neighborhood grocer. They haven't actually released who this is going to be yet, although rumor has it it's going to be a Trader Joe's. So the big question, when are we going to actually be able to enjoy Medley? Well, rumor has it that somewhere between October and late 2026, so a little bit over a year from the time of this video, Medley should be open for business. Now, keep in mind, Medley is really the start of what Johns Creek is hoping to be a much bigger project. They're really trying to overhaul the downtown area because Johns Creek was one of the first suburbs that kind of had the micro city feel, and it's dated. A lot of people have commented on that, but they are making great strides to really change the way that is. If you've watched my channel, you've definitely heard me talk about that. The Georgia suburbs were not created with walkability in mind. So they're really trying to expand on those micro cities that you keep hearing me talk about. Next up is a pretty big one that has been a long time coming, and that's gonna be Gwinnett Place Mall. Gwinnett Place Mall is located right off of Highway 85, off of Pleasant Hill Road in Duluth, Georgia. For those of us that have lived here for a long time, Gwinnett Place used to be the mall to go to. Unfortunately, over the years, it's just gone downhill, and really there is not a lot there anymore. So what's the plan for this area? Well, in December of 2024, Gwinnett County actually dropped $16.5 million to purchase the Macy's department store that was still there, expanding their control to 76 acres of the actual mall site. This is a major step toward their vision of a full-scale redevelopment. Meanwhile, luxury apartment developer Northwood owns the old Sears building and part of the parking lot. So while the county is looking to have more of a mixed-use hub here, some of the private developers are trying to look at introducing maybe a little bit more luxury and high-end housing. So what's the big plan? What is this really going to bring to the area? Well, Gwinnett County is talking about a central park at the heart of the project. They're going to be bringing in enhanced transit options to improve accessibility. Then they're going to have 7 villages built around plazas. There's going to be pathways and little pocket parks. There's going to be some shops, some offices, and different entertainment. They're calling it the Global Villages concept, which ties into Gwinnett's diverse community. So the big question is, when is all of this actually going to take place? I'm right there with you. Well, in January of 2025, the county started interviewing and sending RFPs out for developers that are going to be taking on this massive project. But the reality is this is not a short-term project. A lot of the developers that they have talked with have said that this is realistically a 15 to 20-year project, although some of the smaller projects could probably start to be seen in the next couple of years. Next up, we're moving over to the city of Dacula, still in Gwinnett County, and we're looking at the Rowen project. Phase 1 is moving fast. They've already broken ground, and they are really working to have some big changes by 2026. This covers 800 acres along Georgia 316 and Fence Road. The major site work is already done. Roads are going in, utilities are going in, and if all goes to plan, this phase will be done by the end of 2025 or beginning of 2026. Rowen is pushing itself to be totally different from some of these other projects that you've heard about, and it wants to be known as the innovation hub of Georgia. Here's where things get interesting. In January of 2025, Rowen actually struck a deal with University System of Georgia and the Technical College of Georgia. What does that really mean? So a living lab would actually give students and researchers hands-on experience with cutting-edge technology right there. And the kicker is there's going to be tons of housing so they could actually live and work there. This could make Rowen a magnet for innovation and any startups or businesses that are really trying to look into staying in that field. heading just a little bit north, we're going to be going into Hall County and looking at the new development of Arcadia. Now, this is going to be more of like the Brazelton Buford area, but this is going to be major for this area because if you've driven around this area, you've noticed there's a ton of like little chain restaurants, or you could drive down to the Mall of Georgia, but there's not a ton of development that's in this area. This is going to span over 100 acres. Again, they're looking to develop this into more of that live, work, play vibe. They're looking to put in a 200-room hotel that's going to be over 700,000 square feet of retail space. They're also looking at bringing in some townhomes, some restaurants. There's also going to be a senior living area. If you're familiar with this area, you probably already know this is a little bit of a hot spot. You've got some 55 plus with Deaton Creek and then Chateau Del Webb. You've got the hospital system that is right here. There's a lot of infrastructure that is being reorganized. You've also got Chateau Elan just down the street. So this is going to be a really great addition that is long needed in this area. The last three places we're going to talk about, we're staying right here in the city of Gainesville. Gainesville is a town that has been around for quite some time. There is so much history here, but there has been so much growth and development here lately that people are actually talking about that Gainesville is like the next city of Atlanta because there is just so much happening around this area. So if you are interested or thinking about the town of Gainesville, you are definitely going to want to check out the last three developments that I'm going to share with you. The first one being Gainesville Township. If you watched my video that I did on Flowery Branch, you probably heard me talk about a neighborhood called Sterling on the Lake. It's probably one of the most coveted communities in the entire area. It is a master plan community. Gainesville Township is a new community that is actually being built right here in Gainesville. It is going to be extremely similar to Sterling on the Lake. It is very, very similar in the same way of you've got multiple different builders, you've got different types of housing going on. You're gonna have single family, you're gonna have townhomes, you're gonna have condos. There is actually going to be a total of 2,300 residential units, but they're going to be broken down into the different single family or townhomes as well as multifamily. And Gainesville Township is going to be stretched over 1,100 acres. And one of the best features is its location. You are only 3 miles from downtown Gainesville and only 5 miles from Lake Lanier. So with all of that going for it, plus the fact that it's gonna have some really great amenities, like I said, it's gonna have a clubhouse, swim, tennis, dog park, pickleball, all sorts of trails. This is definitely going to be one for you to check out. Not far down the road, they recently announced that there is going to be a complete overhaul and revitalization of Lakeshore Mall. And you guys, this was so needed. Lakeshore Mall has not had a facelift in I don't even know how long, but this mall has seen its day. But the great news is that they're going to be completely overhauling Lakeshore Mall, which is going to be a huge deal for everybody living in Gainesville and just all of the surrounding areas. And it's going to be very similar again to the Avalon. There's going to be 300,000 outdoor retail options. It's going to have a new hotel. There's going to be some apartments. Now, this is going to take a few years for this to take place, so it's not going to be instant gratification, but I am super excited for this mall to finally get the facelift it deserves and to bring a lot of much needed shopping and just happy vibes to this area. This last development that we're talking about isn't quite as fun as some of the others. However, it is a pretty massive project that you need to know about still right here in the Gainesville area. And that is going to be the Blue Ridge Connector. I talked to the Georgia Port Authority and I've got some fresh updates about what is going on with this project. So if you watch some of my other videos, you probably heard me talk about this is a new project that is actually going to be running from the Port of Savannah, where ships come in, and it's going to be taking containers directly from those ships, putting them on trains, and they will then be running on a direct route as they're building a railroad directly from the Port of Savannah all the way to Gainesville, Georgia, to basically cut out all of the trucks that are having to go on Highway 85 and 75 running north. As of March 2025, the inland port is about 23% complete. This is right off of White Silver Road in Gainesville, Georgia, and the goal is to be open and fully operational by early 2026. Even though it's still under construction, we have been seeing a lot of growth in the area and businesses kind of pouring in. There's been a lot of industrial buildings going up, I think honestly in preparation for all of the cargo that is going to be coming in. Georgia has really been trying to double down on their logistics, and this is just another way that they are making that happen. I gotta be honest, I have mixed emotions when I talk about the developments, just because I think about the infrastructure and I hope that they really think about those things ahead of time and plan things very smart. However, I'm really excited for where things are headed and the development and urbanization of the suburbs that we have here. And so I'd also like to hear from you. What are your thoughts on everything? Are you excited, or what are some of the things that you wish the suburbs of Georgia had that they don't, or that you're just not seeing in the planning process for the future? Make sure you hit that subscribe so that you can stay up to date on all of these developments, and I'll see you guys on the next one.